Hello. Today I'm going to read you a chapter from Richard McDowell's novel, Murder in Java. Former British Special Boat Service Commando Major John Sandringham is now valet and bodyguard to a wealthy industrialist. Once a man of principle, Sandringham has entered into a world of darkness and seemingly abandoned his old code of honour. With loyalties tested to their limits, can his employers help him overcome recent tragedies and the demons that follow him? Or will the Major's descent into debauchery be dangerously irreversible? From the rains of England to the tropical heat of Indonesia, Murder in Java is a tense thriller of continually unfolding drama. Chapter 1. Porridge The Scottish Way. Lady Patricia walked into the very large and rather ornate kitchen and looked at the clock on the wall. It read 6:30 a.m. Her eyes opened wide when she took in her nephew, sitting with his chin resting in his hands in a rather glum fashion. "What are you still doing here, RJ?" she asked. "You're running late today." Her young nephew moved a hand from beneath his chin and threw his aunt a casual wave. "Uncle Bruce is looking for Major Sandringham." "Oh dear, not again," she replied. "I wondered why you weren't looking your usual effervescent self." She gave him a sympathetic smile. "And you're worried that your uncle will not be in the best of moods?" "Not really, Aunt. I was thinking more about what my uncle's punishment might be to poor old Sandringham." "Well, young man, from what I've heard, Major Sandringham's behaviour hasn't been the best in recent times, and his lateness won't be the first time either." RJ brushed his shoulder-length blonde hair away from his face into the desired position. "No, Aunt, I suppose not." Lady Hudson called over to the cook to bring them grapefruit juice and 2 dishes of her freshly made porridge. "What's the secret to your wonderful porridge, Jean?" she asked the cook. "Oh, no secret," Jean replied in her broad Scottish accent. "Just a cupful of oats, a pinch of salt, and full cream milk. None of your watered-down muck." Lady Hudson laughed. "Jean makes the best porridge in town," she said as her attention left the cook and settled back onto her nephew. "There is nothing I can help you with as regards the Major. I have long since promised your uncle not to interfere in his business dealings, and that is a promise I've always kept. But I will say one thing to you. If you feel strongly enough about retaining the services of the said Major Sandringham, then don't give up on your uncle. He might be a stubborn old fool, but he will listen to you." She winked at him. It was a cheeky wink that made him smile. "Thank you, Aunt." She looked him up and down as he sat on the chair. "My goodness, you are getting tall, and very handsome too. Just look at those muscles on your arms. But please don't overdo it at the gym, will you? I don't want you getting like one of those gorilla men that can't walk properly." He laughed. "I'm serious, young man." "No, I won't, Aunt." "How tall are you now? Over 6 feet?" "6 feet, Aunt." "Your dad, and your mum for that matter, would have been proud of you if they could see you today. Which brings me to my next question." She shifted slightly in her seat. "Young man, you've never really told me exactly what happened to you after the plane crash, have you? Of course, you've told everything to your uncle's people here, but I've never heard the words directly from you. I'd like to hear the story, if you don't mind." RJ wasn't expecting this. Neither did he desire it, especially not at such an early hour of the morning. Every time he told the story of his childhood, he felt the pain all over again as the experience was relived. Well, Aunt, as you say, I've told my uncle and many people at the office every little thing. So if it's all the same to you, If you don't mind, young man, interrupted Lady Hudson. An authority now entered her voice. Do we have time? We will make time, she replied, relaxing back in her chair after taking the first spoonful of piping hot porridge, made sweet to the extreme with the addition of 5 teaspoonfuls of white sugar. RJ paused, frowned, and took a deep breath. He started from the beginning. It was raining at our airfield when we left England. I remember holding Mummy's hand as we walked across the tarmac towards the jet. I felt the winter cold as my free hand touched the freezing steel rail. Everything is clear to me. I always held on to these memories throughout my early years in captivity. It's like a film running through my mind with the most vivid clarity. The whirring of the engines soon sent me to sleep. But then after a few hours, I was awoken by my father. It was dinner time. I can even remember what we ate. Can you believe that, Aunt? She did not respond. Her expression remained constant, a captive audience. From the plane's galley, in walked Sandringham Senior. He was carrying a tray with 3 plates of grilled chicken breast and pasta. Oh, the pasta was brought to life with a deep red spicy tomato sauce. Even now I still get the smell in my nostrils of the cinnamon and crushed black pepper coating the hot chicken. RJ stared right through his aunt and into the distance. Sandringham Senior put down each plate and then a glass of rosé wine for my mother, a glass of white wine for my father, and a tall glass of sparkling water for me. RJ paused for a short moment before continuing. Wow, I was 4 years old then. It's been over 15 years and everything is as clear as the crystal of the polished glasses that Sandringham's father served. Everyone was so happy that day. As far as I can remember, everyone was so happy every day. Is that true, Aunt? The question came as a surprise to Lady Hudson, who was slightly thrown by receiving any sort of question amidst the story. Yes, was her short but reassuring reply. We were all very happy. RJ frowned once more. The pain of losing his parents had now been reignited inside him. He had been wondering when such feelings would return. He took a deep breath and continued, in the knowledge that the story must also bring the same pain to his aunt. I remember after dinner jumping out of the comfort of my big leather seat and standing up for a while in front of my parents. I was telling them about how I was enjoying running around the grounds of the estate with Uncle Bruce. Lady Hudson smiled and gently nodded her head. I didn't know anything about my father's businesses in those days. I didn't even realise the extent of the fortunes we had. I thought it was normal for everyone to have a Boeing 747 as a private jet, a chauffeur-driven Bentley, cooks and all the other accompaniments to a billionaire lifestyle. I thought it was normal for every boy to have loving parents and enjoy happiness every single day. I didn't realise that in the coming hours my life would be changed forever and a whole new world would be opened up to me. Anyway, back to the story. Sometime later, Major Sandringham's dad fetched my parents some more refreshments and me a glass of orange juice. I can remember my father asking Sandringham Senior a question about his son's training for the Special Forces. It's funny, isn't it, Aunt, that wherever Sandringham Jr. was at that time, I bet you £1,000,000 he never imagined that within a year his father would have been murdered. His mother would have committed suicide. and he would have taken over his father's job in the service of the Hudson Corporation. How life can change in the blink of an eye.